Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I hope to make these videos interesting and informative for people that know little to nothing about horses or equestrian sports. I'd love to show you a glimpse into this beautiful world of horses, and I would love to start with the thrilling, exciting sport of eventing. Similar to human triathlons, eventing is a multi-sport where a horse and rider combination compete in 3 different disciplines: dressage, cross-country, and show jumping. Competitions can be held over 1, 2, or 3 days depending on the type of show or the show venue. And while each discipline or phase is judged and scored separately, the penalty points for each competition will be combined to give you your final score. In eventing, you're looking to have the lowest score possible, so the more penalties you accrue, the higher your score is going to be. But let's break this down and talk about each discipline independently. I will break them down much more in depth in their own videos to come, but for now we're just going to cover the basics. In eventing, dressage is always the first discipline that you will compete in. It is what will give you your base score that you will carry on into your next phase. The word dressage is derived from the French word meaning training, and very broadly speaking, the dressage test is to show the training and the rideability of the horse. You can think of dressage as the ballet of the horse world. It should showcase a horse's natural beauty and their gaits. It should look easy, graceful, and flawless, like poetry in motion. But just like in ballet, in reality it is extremely technical, physically demanding, and requires strength, balance, flexibility, relaxation, and complete control over the body. Horse and rider are required to perform and execute different movements and patterns at designated points which are marked by letters in an arena. Every movement is then logged on a test sheet with feedback notes from the judge and is then calculated to give you your overall score, penalty-wise, out of 100. This gives you your base score, to which you then carry on into the second and most exciting phase of all, and what all eventers are known for, the cross-country phase. This phase is what eventers are known for. Cross-country is the ultimate test of bravery, trust, and endurance. In cross-country, the same horse and rider combination tackle a designated course over solid obstacles, on terrain, at speeds, within a predetermined amount of time. You can think of it as an intense obstacle course. The goal is to jump the obstacles the first time around within the time allowed. Jumps can include tables, ditches, up and down banks, water jumps, and much more. You and your horse need to be fit, brave, and bold, a little crazy, and very accurate. Each cross-country course has an optimum time, a time at which you are to try and get as close to as possible without exceeding that time allowed. If you go over the optimum time, you will start to accrue time penalties. 0.4 points for every second you are over, which can be extremely costly. But don't worry, we eventers wear watches to keep track of the time, so you become very good at time management. You can also accrue jumping penalties and faults on course and cross-country. Horse stops or refuses to jump an obstacle, or decides to run to the side of a jump, known as a run-out, 20 points are added to your dressage score. If the horse runs out or refuses a second time at the same jump, 40 additional points are awarded to your score. And a third attempt at the same jump is elimination. Upper levels are allowed 3 separate disobediences or stops or runs out, and the lower levels are actually allotted 4 before elimination is required. A rider fall or a horse fall, whether it was related to a fence or an obstacle or not, is elimination. And if you activate a frangible pin on course at one of the obstacles, then 11 points are allotted to you. Following the thrilling cross-country comes the third and final phase, the technical course of show jumping. Show jumping is the final phase and tests the horse and rider's ability to be extremely accurate and careful over fences. Your goal is to jump all of the jumps without dropping any rails within the allotted amount of time. Show jumping requires precision and tests the horse's stamina and recovery when it's performed after cross-country. Since horses will be more fatigued after cross country, this increases the effort the horse has to put forward, which would make it much more likely for them to drop rails. While cross country jumps are mostly solid, show jump rails are sitting in shallow cups, so they can easily be knocked down by a leg that's hanging too low. In show jumping, you also have an optimum time and can accrue time penalties, 0.4 points for every second that you are over. As for jumping penalties, you'll receive 4 points for every rail you drop or if your horse decides to stop at a jump or run out. However, if your horse touches or rubs a rail, you are not penalized. You are only penalized for drop rails. And let's just say, for example, that you are going around your course and your horse decides to stop at a jump and they accidentally knock down the entire fence. Don't worry, it's still just 4 points.
So just as an example, let's say in dressage you got a 30.3. You jumped around cross country clear and inside the time, so no penalty points for you there. But in stadium you had 2 rails, so they're 4 points apiece, gives you 8, but you didn't have any time penalties. So your final score is then going to be a 38.3. You are said to have finished on your dressage score if you don't add any penalty points, jumping, or time to your dressage score. So if someone was to say, I finished on my dressage score, this person's finishing dressage score would be a 30.3.
The lowest score out of each division takes the big win, and most of the time, scores are really close. Sometimes only a 0.1 difference can change the whole leaderboard. So while, of course, we as competitors want to win, it's really just you and your horse against the course. That wraps up our Eventing 101. Please click below if you want to learn more about the levels of eventing, or click below to see me go in more in depth on the individual disciplines of eventing. Thanks, be bold, and stay sassy.